There are only a few things that are guaranteed in life, such as death, and also the fact that Five Nights at Freddy's can never escape controversy. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Unfortunately, this one will once again be a bit of a negative one, so I'm sorry about that. Asking all of the Five Nights at Freddy's developers to have some peace and understanding in between each other is like going to the Middle East and telling everyone to stop fighting. It's just impossible. Time and time again, the Five Nights at Freddy's community, especially the FNAF fan game community, has been blessed with many delays, cancellations and controversies, and yeah, still going. But the one controversy I'm going to be talking about today is the most recent one regarding Five Nights at Freddy's Plus. More specifically, Five Nights at Freddy's Plus in relation to Lost Paw's version, as the original one, developed by Phisnom, being part of the Fazbear Initiative thing, was cancelled back in August. And now the remake of Five Nights at Freddy's Plus, which in of itself was attempting to remake Five Nights at Freddy's 1, Scott Cawthon's original, has been cancelled again. So it's very safe to say that FNAF Plus will never ever see the light of day again. But it gets more complicated than this. So let's get into what's happened over the past couple of days. First off, I just want to mention, please allow the gameplay in the background. I know it's pretty bad, crappy and laggy and whatever. That's because it's actually recorded on my old laptop, as Lost Paw took down the original download link on Megazip. The reason it's only on my laptop is because I didn't want to risk it playing on my actual PC, because I thought it was a little bit dodgy and maybe it had a virus or two, so that's that. The gameplay you're seeing from the background is actually from Lost Paw's version of Five Nights at Freddy's Plus, shortly before it got taken down. So it's not in any way trying to promote the game or whatever, it's simply trying to show you guys literally what the game looked like. So let's just do a recap on what most of us probably already know. The Ruin DLC for Security Breach finally released at the end of July, and I think perhaps after the game came out straight afterwards, or early August, Phisnom made a certain comment about the game. He pretty much talked about how he found it underwhelming and thought the game was all in all quite boring. After making this comment, one Twitter user shared a tweet and jokingly talked about how when FNAF Plus comes out, everyone should talk about how that's boring, because it's only fair. Fellow FNAF Plus warriors were not a big fan of this, so they did the most reasonable thing they could and sent him death threats and NSFW gory images. Afterwards, Phisnom didn't exactly provide the right response, and he sarcastically and jokingly kind of talked about the whole topic, which may or may not have resulted in him being straight up pulled out of FNAF Fanverse and therefore FNAF Plus being cancelled. With his contract being terminated with Scott Cawthon, another FNAF developer by the name of Lost Paw decided to step in. He pretty much created his own exact version of Five Nights at Freddy's Plus in just over a month. At first, I'm sure this was just a great tactic to make his channel grow and perhaps provide an experience to FNAF fans who were left disappointed, but either way, I don't think he was expecting that this game would get the amount of attention that it ended up getting. I mean, people including myself were seriously impressed with the game. I mean, my guy literally made this just 1 month afterwards. I guess it is pretty much a direct clone and ripoff of the actual Five Nights at Freddy's Plus, but still. At first, people were seriously rejoicing when this came out, including Fusion, Dorco and 8-Bit Ryan, just to name a few. The majority of them even made their own series on the game, seemingly enjoying every minute, even though these have been taken down. Lost Paw was getting compliments from the Five Nights at Freddy's community left, right and center. People all over were congratulating him on how he could recapture the magic of the first Five Nights at Freddy's, as well as take direct assets from Five Nights at Freddy's Plus. Now this was all great and all up until the big dogs of the Five Nights at Freddy's community ended up getting involved, and people started to realize that Lost Paw perhaps didn't make the best of choices. The first issue that started to come up actually wasn't anything to do with Lost Paw. It was instead the fact that many YouTubers who covered the game didn't put the fact that this was a fan-made version of FNAF Plus in the thumbnail and title. And to be honest with you, as a fellow YouTuber, I probably would have done the exact same thing. I mean, it does get a lot more clicks if you put just FNAF Plus instead. But anyway, as this constantly kept on happening, people weren't actually aware if this was a fan-made game or actual FNAF Plus. Some people knew that it was cancelled and they were really confused, like how has it just come back? And some people didn't know it was cancelled in the first place, so they genuinely thought that this was the actual game. And as a result of this, it's not a surprise at all that people like Scott Cawthon, Phisnom, the main developer, and other key figures in the Five Nights at Freddy's community ended up getting involved and had their say in this. Of course, sooner or later it was going to end up being a problem for people, especially like Scott Cawthon and Phisnom, that people were confusing their cancelled game with a fan-made one. In addition to this, it definitely seemed like a low blow, the fact that Phisnom spent over 3 years working on his project, dedicating his everyday life to making it as good as possible, and then someone like Lost Paw comes over, makes the whole thing in a month, uses AI to recreate Scott Cawthon's voice, plagiarizes a lot of the models and ideas of the original game, and not to mention the fact he got an insane amount of clout for making this game just from using the Five Nights at Freddy's Plus name. Now technically speaking, Lost Paw did actually generate some profit on the side of making this game, as well as all the clout he got. Not from anyone actually purchasing the game per se, because it was only on some random website to be downloaded. However, you could donate to him. Inside of the zip folder, alongside with the application and the app data, you actually get a readme note that talks about donating to Lost Paw. Of course, he isn't actually selling the game, it is free, and donating to him is completely optional, but I can also kind of see how in a moral standpoint it could be wrong. Now the second main controversy was around the fact that Lost Paw ended up using an AI voice to imitate Scott Cawthon instead of hiring someone to do it for him or just doing it himself. But in all fairness, I'm pretty sure Lost Paw is like Russian or Latvian, so I'm not exactly sure about how good his English is. Using AI voices to imitate people has been a very controversial and big topic all around the music industry and not just Five Nights at Freddy's. I can kind of see what Lost Paw was trying to do by imitating the Scott AI voice, but at the same time I don't think it was a very good idea. Not only does it completely take away the charm of the original iconic Scott voice by replacing it with this weird off-putting mechanical sound, but also in absolutely no way did he actually ask permission from Scott Cawthon himself if he can use the voice in the game. I think that at this point it is important to mention that the majority of all this beef and controversy first started on Twitter. God, what a surprise. Kane Carter, the developer responsible for making games such as Pop Goes the Weasel, an absolute banger back in the day may I add, as well as Team Fortress Future and Minecraft Ghosts and Caves, on Twitter mentioned about how people in their titles were not mentioning the fact that it was a FNAF fan game. In fact, aside from Scott Cawthon, he was the reason that many YouTubers including Dorko and 8-Bit Ryan ended up changing their title. Going further down, we can see a little bit of back and forth between Lost Paw Play as well as Kane Carter. Honestly, I didn't expect the game to be mistaken for the original, I just wanted to recreate the game, that's all. And then Kane pretty much replied with, I just wanted to recreate the game, that's all, taking the right mic, that's not the impression I've gotten from you, all I'm seeing is spy and ego, you might not be so different from Phil. Ouch. Down below, Carter included a cheeky snippet of Lost Play's community, and in this snippet we can see just how much Lost Paw is going for blood when talking about Phil, most notably saying stop supporting the original FNAF Plus, quite a bold claim, as well as saying seriously do not even let him have hope, which is quite deep. But yeah, apparently there was quite a bit of mistranslation error in this actually, so apparently the original Russian Latvian version wasn't so serious, more sarcastic and meant to be taken lightheartedly. But yeah, pretty much just some good old Five Nights at Freddy's community beef and controversy. The Steam game for Five Nights at Freddy's Plus has been removed entirely, the YouTube channel has deleted all of its content, and the Twitter account is privated. So yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's Plus is officially dead and will probably never come back. The original and the fan-made version. Here's a closing tweet from Lost Play. This conflict is now over. Let's forget about this once and for all. Once again, my deepest apologies to Scott and many others. Using AI was truly terrible. This won't happen again. Thanks also to Dorko and others for your support. I keep moving. Scott Cawthon completely owns the rights to all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, so if any of them are remade without his permission, they will promptly be taken down. As of right now, the time is bitter and the ending to this video will also be bitter. Hopefully the FNAF community and especially developers will stop snorting lines of coke and get a grip. But oh well, perhaps there will be even greater projects to come in the future. All is well guys, and I will soon be watching the FNAF movie to tell you guys what I think. Maybe FNAF hasn't lost all hope. I have zero ill intent towards Scott Cawthon, Phisnom, Kane Carter, as well as Lost Paw. If the gameplay you are seeing in this current video is quite random and has nothing to do with actual FNAF Plus, it's because the original video for this got taken down and I had to replace it with different content. But anyways, hopefully I can keep it up. As always, hope you guys had a great time watching the video. If you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in a future video. Goodbye.